And we know the date for Oleksandr Usyk to take on Tyson Fury again. It is the 21st of December. And once again, the venue is Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Let's talk to the former world cruiserweight champion, Johnny Nelson. Johnny, good evening. Great to see you. Will the result be any different this time?
Well, I don't know. Will Tyson Fury, I always thought that Tyson Fury had to beat him, but unfortunately he chose the wrong tactics. Will he have learnt the lesson? If he's learnt the lesson, I don't think it'll be the same result. If he has learnt the lesson, he saw the successes he had midway through the fight. My main concern between now and then is Tyson's mental appetite for this fight, knowing that Usyk has had the better of him once, and Tyson's an unbelievable historian of our sport, and so for him to get his head around that, to get his self-belief around that, it's going to be very hard for him. So we'll have to wait and see.
The other way of looking at that, Johnny, is to say it's going to make him even more determined.
It should make him more determined, but as I said, if you've been at the top of your tree and you believe you're the best in the world no matter what, and all of a sudden somebody gets the better of you, it's very hard to accept that. It's very hard to think I did everything right, I dated right, I prepped right, I was in amazing condition, the best condition we've seen him for years. So again, what can he change? A lot needs to be changing in the back room. We saw in the corner he had three voices shouting at him left, right, and centre. That was out of desperation, I assume. Misreading of the fight, thinking he was ahead. I think for Tyson, he's got to have a serious conversation with his team, and there needs to be somebody that has his ear, that he listens to and respects, to give him that confidence back, to say you can do this, you can turn this around. Tyson is, as I said, he's one of the best all-round fighters out there. He's a good boxer. He's a good fighter. He's a good before fighter. You know, I call it boxing foreplay. He's the best at it. But unfortunately, Brendan Ingle used to call it three small. You can't be too smart for other people, but he outsmarted himself to the point where he had to try to outbox Usyk, who was the better boxer, not the better fighter, the better boxer. And hopefully he's learned from that lesson and thought, I'll not do that again. I'll use my physicality. I use everything that's got me to this point in the first place. But as I say, I think the biggest mountain to climb is that mental scar is left on him to deal with it.
Brendan Ingle being your former trainer, for those who aren't quite as old as you and me. Are you suggesting that Tyson needs to change his training team or just organise the hierarchy more clearly?
There needs to be organisation. There needs to be one chef. He needs to get rid of the people that are there just to say yes, no, yes, no. He needs to be forever developing. That's part of the responsibility of being a champion. I'm not in his camp, but what I saw and the things I hear, that's what he needs to address. If he doesn't address it, it's going to be exactly the same thing again. He needs one chef, one main voice, one, jump. Don't ask me how high. Nobody else asks me how, just jump. He needs one voice, the voice he respects, to get him there. If he doesn't, mark my words, it wouldn't have surprised me if the same thing happened again, number one. And number two, it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't actually get in on the 21st of December.
Because
of the mental scars, and because I think it'll be very hard for it. It's going to be so hard for him to climb that mountain mentally all over again. It's going to be so hard for him, and I understand the mentality of a fighter. And for Tyson Fury, it's the first time he's really tasted defeat in such a manner. And he ticked every box. He did everything right, apart from the team around him. They didn't do their job correctly, as far as I'm concerned.
And also with his entourage, we had all that shenanigans on, was it the Monday or Tuesday of fight week? John Fury got involved, there was blood flowing. Does all that stuff not matter, or is that detrimental to preparing for a big fight?
That does matter, because that represents Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury represents us in the UK. Unfortunately, we have the reputation when it comes to sport of being hooligans around the world. To have a front like that, to have that kind of rep, to have that kind of display, what does that say about us? What does that say about our sport? What does that say about us as sportsmen and women? To me, I think for Tyson Fury, he doesn't need that kind of distraction, because I'm quite sure when the cameras were gone, He said to his dad, "What's going on?" You know, and it wasn't something you just dismiss and brush over, because if you see some claret running down your dad's head, you're going to be concerned of what's going on, and then you're going to see the knock-on effects of that, how it's affected everything else. Mark my words, I do not care who he is. That will have affected the status quo at some way, some form, somehow. Fight week, you do not need that. Your main concentration is the guy you're fighting, getting the job done. Not what's gone on in the week building up to it. It's the last thing you need.
I don't think Oleksandr Usyk is going to come to you for advice particularly, although maybe he should. But if he did, would you say just do the same again, mate?
Without a doubt, his pace was key. That stood him out. You know, his pace from round one all the way through. He rode the storm of Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury wasn't consistent with his work rate from round 4 through to round 8. He wasn't consistent with it, and that's where Usyk's determination, belief, hard work had all paid off. And so for him, I do exactly the same thing. Why even attempt to change anything? Tyson Fury tried to outbox the better boxer. He didn't try to outfight and outbox a better boxer. He tried to outbox and play it with his own game. The word is, don't give a man a chance that shouldn't have one. And it's quite clear, physically, Usyk should not be able to outfight Tyson Fury. And he didn't have to. He just outboxed him and he outstayed him and he stuck it out.
Johnny, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.